Hello, everyone, and hope you're all having an amazing day or had an amazing day, depending on your current time zone. So, today I'm going to talk a little bit about our journey through dialysis and how we ended up there, right? So, a little bit about just the battles that we had to go through and how we had to fight through these different battles just to get to that point in which, or just to get to where we are today. It's been a long journey, especially obviously my oldest daughter has gone through so many different things, so many different surgeries. It's really important for us, I guess, to kind of explain, or for me to explain how hard that journey was, not only as a mother, but as a mother watching her daughter get sicker and sicker and sicker. Because in all reality, dialysis might work really well for some people. The gist of it is that it is literally draining the soul out of you little by little because of the just the complexity of the actual system, how it works, um, how you are just trying to get through the day. So it's really, really hard to watch. That's one thing for sure. The second thing is the fact of it is that it's very difficult to undergo and be consistent with it and not feel some kind of a just let's just be like this, like your skin literally starts turning gray after a while you're on dialysis. I know that it's sometimes it could be a kind of a gloomy thing to think about, to kind of think back as to what she went through and just remembering everybody that was on dialysis and all those kids that I watch have to go through that. But we're on the other side right now and we appreciate it, we're happy, and I think that it's important to kind of give you guys my insight as a mother watching my daughter and what she went through and how we overcame. Hello, hello, hello. For those of you guys that are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Kathy, and for my seasoned subscribers, welcome back. On Mondays, I do videos all about fashion, accessories, just fun things that I enjoy doing to keep my mind off of the second half of the week videos, which are all about my two girls and their journeys with TSC and FSGS. TSC being tuberous sclerosis complex, or tumors that can grow in any major organ throughout your body, and FSGS being a form of kidney disease that causes damage to the glomeruli, which is your kidney filtration, which can lead to kidney disease, kidney failure, kidney dialysis, or kidney transplant, depending on the disease's progression. So if you're interested in either or, please hit the little subscribe button and hit the little bell so you can be notified on all of my latest videos. And please don't forget to hit the like button and comment below. Let me know what you think of today's video. And let's get started. So, what led my daughter to having to go through dialysis, right? Or how we got here was really both of my girls have a gene of the FSGS gene. So my oldest daughter ended up getting full-blown FSGS. Unfortunately, what the disease does is it literally causes damage to the glomeruli, which is the filtration. It's literally scars it, and the responsibility of that actual glomeruli, or that part of your kidney, it literally filters the waste, filters any of the excess fluids from the blood to produce urine. As the scarring progresses, it ends up you start losing protein in your urine, you start developing scar tissue, and obviously it can lead to kidney disease, kidney failure. Then obviously the next two steps are you're either gonna have to be on dialysis or you're gonna have to literally get a transplant. So my oldest daughter, when she developed kidney disease, she was having a lot of issues. She'd wake up in the morning throwing up, just not feeling well. Then the next day she'd be okay. It kind of like was in and out. She eventually started getting her urine started having like it would bubble up, strong scent, strong smell to it. So all these were signs that something was wrong, and we would take her to the doctors. Then we eventually found out that she had high protein in her urine, which was a high indicator that something was wrong with her kidney. So that's when we obviously are. That's just a little run through of where it started, kind of where we are today. So today, she obviously got her second transplant, but I want to kind of give you kind of an insight of our journey to get there. So it was about 2012 she got my kidney. 3 years later, she ended up catching meningitis, or she caught meningitis, losing my kidney, and then After that, she ended up on kidney dialysis. So this was the first time she ended up on kidney dialysis. So from 2012, so about 2016 is when she officially started dialysis. So throughout that journey, in the beginning, she was doing fine. She was doing okay. Everything was going through. Her body was taking it obviously a lot, a lot easier than as it continues to progress and gets worse and worse. So you have to think of dialysis as like life support, literally. It filters and cleans out the blood where the kidneys aren't able to. So that glomeruli, which does the kidney filtration and is scarred up and it no longer functions and your kidneys are no longer working properly, now the dialysis pretty much is your life support. It's what helps you survive. It removes all the waste products from your blood. It all the excess fluids. So if you ever seen anyone on dialysis, if you're not getting a really good session of dialysis where you're clearing out your fluids, what ends up happening is you can get excess fluid around your stomach. That's very common. The legs, you could see it. Maybe in the eyes, you could see all the excess fluid, and these are things that can happen, and then it can build up in your lungs. So that's really, really, really scary, because then obviously your lungs are working overtime, your heart is now working overtime. All of these different organs are all connected. So if your kidney is not functioning properly, you're on dialysis, the responsibility of the dialysis treatment is to literally help get all that fluid out of your system, and also all of that excess waste in your system. So it's helping you maintain your clean blood, right? So these are all important. That's why you cannot miss your sessions. Like, it's really important that if there is an emergency, you can't make your dialysis session, then you do have to go the next day. Do not waste. Like, they tell you a certain amount of days that you cannot skip dialysis. You have to get in there. It's really important to keep yourself healthy and to keep yourself going, and also to prevent your bloodstream from literally like having so much waste that your body's not able to function at all. So the longer you wait to get dialysis and your kidneys aren't filtering all that waste or all that excess fluid, the worse you're going to feel. They normally start you on dialysis if your kidney functions are like between 10 and around 15%. Obviously, if there are different cases where they might start you sooner because you might have some other underlying issue, and they feel that it's important to get you going a lot faster. Sometimes it could just be that it's an emergency, you got into an accident and they need to put you on dialysis to restart your kidney. There's different scenarios. Unfortunately, I'm not a doctor, so I can't really tell you all of them. The only ones I could really talk about, because we live it, is my daughter's journey with dialysis. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to dialysis, it's not a cure. There are instances, obviously, like I said before, where you just need to jumpstart your kidney, and they might put you on dialysis for a couple of sessions. But in any type of kidney failure scenario, that's not a cure. It's just to help you get through the day, help you clean your system so that you can move forward. For my daughter, she had to go 3 times a week, 3 hours each session. Now, that's another thing that you have to take into consideration, is that dialysis can be longer for certain people or shorter for others, depending on how well you function on your dialysis. So you have to go through a series of blood work, a series of testing, and so forth, in order to identify whether or not you need 2-hour session, or whether or not you may need a 4-hour session, or you may need to come in 4 days or 3 days. It all depends. So for my daughter, again, she was 3 days a week, 3 hours per session. Now, the most difficult thing that I ever had to go through was, okay, so a little bit about me and the way I function. In an environment where there is a lot of blood, anything like that, I get extremely nauseous. I immediately react to that and I have to throw up. Like, it's like instant. Like, so the first few days I was able to sit there with her and really, support her, make sure that she has all the support that she has. Obviously, I was in the room more often than not when she was little, so this wasn't even like an issue. But what I'm saying, as she got older, it became harder and harder for me to stay there, because I was constantly nauseous and I didn't want to throw up in front of the kids. I didn't want to get them all like worked up and stuff like that. So we had really awesome nurses, and I would wait in the waiting room. Once she was done, I would take her. So these are things kind of like what I went through. It was also really, really hard for me to sit there and watch her get dialysis. it would make me extremely, like, I almost felt like I wanted to faint. I was extremely overwhelmed. Then I'm watching younger kids get dialysis, and it took a toll on me. Like, just, it, even though, like, this wasn't anything about me, it was my daughter and making sure she was healthy, but it definitely took a toll on me mentally, and it was overwhelming, to say the least. As she got older, she started to drive herself to dialysis, because obviously I couldn't go out all the time because I had to work. But she started to actually drive herself, which was amazing. Like, she was a trooper. Like, Amber is a trooper. When I say that she deserves all the best, she definitely does. So what she was doing was she was driving herself. If there were scenarios that she needed me to take her, I would definitely take her. So we kind of like adjusted like that. She was usually up at like 5 in the morning, and then she would drive to her session. And when she was done, she would rest, and then when she felt better, she would drive herself back. So these were like certain scenarios that we went through. We were very fortunate because she was older, so she was able to take her car and able to not be tied down to anything. But she also had the early shift, so she was able to get in there and get out. So that was one good thing. So as the years progressed, she grew out of the kids dialysis units. So it's very, very different, the kids versus the adults. And you know, we're fortunate to have seen the, I don't think it's fortunate. I think we definitely saw a huge difference between the kids dialysis units and the older ones and the adults. Now with the kids, there's a lot more support, a lot more caring, a lot more like attention to details and stuff like that. So like for example, when she got really, really bad, she had a low hemoglobin. We had to rush her to the hospital. The nurse that's on call for the kids dialysis unit, she came in. uh, we have amazing nurses that work with us at the Tampa hospital unit. So they would come in, and whoever was on call, and stay with her all night and make sure that she got her dialysis treatment. So for example, like if she had to miss her appointment because she was so sick and she wasn't feeling good, she had to go to the ER. The dialysis unit nurse would come in, whoever was on call, and would stay with her the entire night. So again, fabulous, just a fabulous group of people there at the kids dialysis unit there in pediatrics, dialysis unit there in Tampa. A lot of thanks to them, because without them, I don't know if I would have been able to get through this, right? So, the hardest thing for me was seeing my daughter get sicker and sicker and sicker. While you're in dialysis, and yes, it cleans your system out, it does all this great stuff, there is a lot of bad that comes with it. You're getting these huge needles in your arm every other day. So just think about that, being punctured every other day, and these are huge needles, because it's just the process itself that puts a huge weight on your body, and it literally starts to make you sicker and sicker, as well as try to help you get better. So it's competing with each other. So literally competing the good with the bad. So that was probably the biggest issue that I had when we tried to. The biggest issue we had was when we tried to go to at-home dialysis right after she was about to be kicked out of the kids unit because she was 21. They let her stay till 21, which was fantastic. But she had to get out, and we tried to do the at-home dialysis. That was really hard. Peritoneal dialysis is no joke. It really isn't. If it's not done correctly, or you're not able to do it, it can literally like take you out. Like, she has such a hard time. Like, she couldn't walk, she could barely breathe. When they would check her lungs were always filled with fluid. It just wasn't cleaning her, and she had to do it every single night. So it was another process. It was a nightmare. It just wasn't something that made sense to us. She just I could see her getting sicker and sicker, and literally like overnight getting worse and worse and worse, and that really scared me. So a lot of times we had to decide, not a lot of times, but we had to take her to the hospital because she wasn't clean properly, and then she'd have to do dialysis at the hospital. So we decided that peritoneal dialysis wasn't the best option for us. So she had a couple of surgeries. She had two surgeries, one originally to do the peritoneal. the second one to fix her peritoneal, then the third one to remove it. So she went through a lot of surgeries that year. So once she got out of that, went back to the chair, I could see her feeling a little bit better. It did take her quite some time to start feeling a little bit better, where she was able to walk and without struggling, because I could see her like really, really getting. That's when she started to get worse, and then a little bit better. But this was towards the end of her treatment period. So I started really, really trying to get her more positive and try to get her on a dialysis, get her on the kidney transplant list, because I saw that it was getting bad. So I really, really pushed her. We were trying to get on the kidney list that whole time, but the last few years, like that 6th year, I was like, we got to get you on the list. There is no more waiting here. And it was really a push, because a lot of the hospitals didn't want to give her an opportunity, because she had just cleared meningitis infection and they were afraid to give her a kidney. So that one probably was the biggest hurdle that we had, was convincing the doctors that she was okay enough to get her other kidney. So that was probably the scariest out of everything, just hearing all the no's. She went to 5 different hospitals. She got 4 no's and she got 1 yes. So yeah, I was happy I kept pushing her, because I knew she was going to be able to get that kidney, because she's young enough to handle it. Even though she had her struggles, you could see her fighting constantly, and I knew she still had that fight in her, and I didn't want to let that light go out on her, because I saw it dimming. And when I tell you that was the scariest time of my life, that was the scariest time of my life. I actually went into a deep depression, and I had to fight that while keeping my daughter, just keeping her positive and knowing that we're going to get through this together. So it was hard. Yeah, definitely. The whole goal of this is just to kind of give you guys insight as to our struggles and what we dealt with when it comes to TSC and FSGS. It's just like all these struggles that we understand. A lot of people don't understand this, because it's not a common disease, but it's stuff that we have been through. It's so much in our lives that now it's just like, oh, yep, another issue. Let's go handle it. It's no longer like, oh my goodness, how are we going to deal with this? I'm out of that phase a long time ago. And I'll tell you one thing that these different scenarios have done to me is literally give me the longest fuse ever on earth possible when it comes to a reaction. I get stressed out, don't get me wrong, but I deal with it in a way that I've gotten a lot of patience with it. So it's definitely something that has helped me grow as a mother, as a woman, as an individual, period. I've grown a lot because of it. But anyway, thank you guys so much for taking the time out to check out my video. Please note, I'm not a doctor, nurse, practitioner, nothing. I don't have a medical history or background, nothing. No one went to school for it. This is all just real life experiences that we have gone through, and I'm sharing it with you guys to let you know, hey, we've been here. This is what we've been through. So hopefully it gives you the information you need to, to maybe take your situation head on. Maybe something similar that you've dealt with, or that you're dealing with today. So thank you again, guys, for checking out my video. I hope it was informative, and I hope it really does help you out in some way, even if it's a little way. And please don't forget to focus through and evolve. Ciao.